What if I told you a struggling single dad bought an airport that had been closed for 20 years, and everyone thought he was crazy? No planes, no business? Just silence and broken runways. But one night at exactly midnight, everything changed. A private jet appeared out of nowhere and landed perfectly, like the airport was never abandoned at all. Who was on that jet, and how did this man know it was coming? This is a powerful story about vision, risk, and proving everyone wrong when they doubt you. So make sure you watch till the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let's get started. The desert wind howled softly across the cracked runway as the single dad stood alone, staring at what everyone else had called worthless. The abandoned airport stretched endlessly, faded markings, a rusted control tower, and silence that felt almost permanent. Locals had laughed when he bought it, whispering that he had lost his mind. But they didn't see what he saw. They didn't notice the runway's hidden strength beneath the dust, or the strategic location far from crowded airspaces. Day after day, he worked with his own hands, fixing lights, clearing debris, repairing just enough of the runway to make it functional again. His young daughter would sit nearby watching quietly, trusting him even when others didn't. Nights were the hardest, but he never stopped. There was purpose in every move he made. Then came that night. The sky was unusually clear, stars scattered like a map above him. He checked his watch, calm and focused, as if expecting something. At first there was nothing but silence. Then a distant hum, faint but growing stronger. Lights appeared in the distance, cutting through the darkness, a private jet, smooth, precise, descending directly toward the very runway people had mocked. The father didn't panic, he didn't wave or signal. He simply stood there, watching as the aircraft aligned perfectly and touched down, like it had landed there 100 times before. As the engines powered down, he exhaled slowly, a small, knowing smile forming on his face. This moment wasn't luck, it was proof everything he had done. Every late night, every ignored insult had LED to this exact second. By sunrise, the quiet desert airfield was no longer forgotten. Dust rose in thin clouds. As a convoy of black SUVs rolled through the entrance, their presence sharp against the stillness of the place. The same townspeople who once laughed now stood at a distance, watching in disbelief. No one spoke as men in tailored suits stepped out, scanning the area with practiced eyes. The private jet from the night before remained parked like a silent witness to everything that had changed. In just a few hours, the single dad moved calmly through it all, focused on his work as if nothing unusual had happened. He checked the runway lights again, adjusted a loose panel near the edge, and wiped his hands on a worn cloth. To him, this wasn't chaos or surprise. It was timing. Everything was unfolding exactly as he had planned. One of the suited men finally approached him, his expression serious but respectful. "You knew we'd come," he said, glancing briefly at the restored strip behind them. It wasn't a question. The father looked up, meeting his gaze without hesitation. "I knew someone would," he replied quietly. His voice carried no arrogance, only certainty. The man nodded slowly, understanding more than what was said. This wasn't just luck or coincidence. The airport's location, forgotten in official routes, but perfectly positioned for discreet operations, made it valuable in ways most people couldn't see. Where others saw abandonment, the single dad had seen opportunity. Within hours, activity increased. Equipment was unloaded, communications were set up. The once dead control tower flickered back to life. With temporary systems, the father's daughter watched from the doorway, wide-eyed but smiling, sensing that something important was happening. Her father walked over, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's just the beginning," he told her softly. Later that day, another jet was heard approaching in the distance. Then another word hadn't spread publicly, but among the right circles it had traveled fast. This airstrip, hidden, reliable and now functional, was becoming something rare, a place that offered both access and privacy. As the sun dipped low again, casting long shadows across the runway, the same man returned to stand beside the father. Most people walked away from this place. "He said you walked toward it." The single dad gave a faint smile, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Sometimes," he replied, "the things people abandon are the ones worth the most." The laughter, the doubt, the whispers, they were gone now. In their place stood respect, not loud or exaggerated, but real, built on action, patience, and vision. And as another aircraft prepared to land under the fading light, it was clear that this airport, once silent for 2 decades, had found its voice again. Because one man refused to see it the way everyone else did,